For tonight, we're going to start with the design, and let me see, should I use Photoshop or Krita? I think Photoshop would be good, but it has been giving me problems. Alright, so I'm going to use Krita. And actually, you know, one reason why I should probably use Krita, and I'm not sure if you guys know this, I talked about this on a previous live show. Krita is actually a free program for graphic artists, and it's almost as good as Photoshop. I'm not really sure if it compares completely because Photoshop has been updated, I mean, almost on like a weekly basis, it seems like. They're always coming out with new stuff. And Krita is more slow of a, more slow to get updates, and they're kind of, where are we here? Here we go. Okay, let's move this stuff around a bit. So we have layers, we have tool options. This is Krita, and I guess a lot of this stuff is covered up by the chat, isn't it? Oh man. Alright, let's kind of do this instead. Let's make this smaller. Now before the live show, if you guys are friends with me on Facebook, I've recently sculpted this person called Rachel Weiss, and it turns out that the head size might be too large, and my client talked to me right before the show, and he's like, oh, it looks like the head size might be too big, and so we're kind of going back and forth on fixing that. So I didn't really prepare this very well tonight, unfortunately. Let's see if I can create a new document, and that's probably okay. Let's see, custom document, or maybe that's kind of large. What's a good scale, or what's a good size here? 240, 2484, no. I think this is probably the scale of my last monitor that I had in here. Let me see what's, let's go with like 1500 by 1000. Alright. There it is. We have all these brush presets covering it. So I'm going to move the brush presets off to my other monitor. I think that should help. This way you guys don't have a lot of clutter to look at. Okay. And let us do this. So have you guys used Krita before? It's pretty good of a program. So Ron is saying, I think working on stop motion stuff live is a great idea. Is it really clear for you guys? It's not fuzzy. Can you read all the words and stuff? I mean, I always kind of wonder if it's actually broadcasting clear when I do live shows with all the new settings that I've had to create here. So, all right, so here we have our little empty space of possibilities. Let's see. I should probably plug in, I have a Wacom tablet too. I should try to use that. Let's see if it'll work tonight. Okay. And it looks like I can't use it because it's not letting me move my mouse to the other monitor. Oh man. Yep. Yeah, it pops over to monitor number 2 instead of the first monitor. Darn. Alright. My apologies, everybody. But I can use the mouse, and that's fine. So, what is the first thing to think about when designing puppets for clay, or using clay? So Ron is saying, isn't Krita a Windows app? And it is, yes. And I believe you can use it for Mac as well. Yeah, for both. Like I say, it is free, so I could show you guys the official website for it, so you can learn where to get it. Okay. So here it is. And so if you want to download it, there's you go to Krita, krita.org/en for English. And there is an option for, I guess, like Chinese, Spanish, maybe Japanese and Korean. I'm not really sure. Or it could be something else, but the characters that show up here are like that for me with my fonts. But you can see here some of the creations that people have made. And they have new builds coming out constantly. But they also, the way that this works, okay, is they'll try to do like a fundraising to add features, and so you can sort of go on their site and they'll ask what features would you like the most, and it is animation capable, believe it or not. So you can use this program for animation, but you need to import still frames. So the download is up here. So we'll click it. And so you can download it for Windows, Linux, Mac OS X, and also you can download the source code. So I think you can alter this if you're really good with programming, which is, I can't really imagine doing that myself. I'm not very good at coding anything, but that option is there. So pretty cool. And they've also got Krita Gemini, and this here is a version of Krita that has both a traditional desktop user interface as well as an interface optimized for tablets. So that's really cool. So if you've got one like one of those iPads or something, you can use that. And also Krita Studio. And I'm not sure. This here is a paid support version of Krita Desktop with full commercial support available. So I imagine really what that means is you can talk to them and ask them how to use this program. Now, I can't draw to save my life, but we're going to kind of go over some design aspects of making puppets here. And so first off, I'm not really sure what I want to design and how I want to design it, because I had to kind of use my imagination and think of what would be kind of cool to animate as well, because you're thinking in terms of animation when you design something. And so if we're going to design something that is extremely large and clunky, it's going to be hard to animate. And if we design something that's too skinny as well, it might be kind of hard to animate, because clay, if you make it too thin over an armature, tends to crack and so forth. Like a thin paper thin layer of clay will also be easier to squish over an armature, so the more pressure you apply. So something like an arm, let's say this is our armature wire here, and now we'll have some sort of bones in there. So this is going to be like a bone. And then if we have another bone here, just a small bone made out of something like either Super Sculpey or something like a 2-part epoxy putty. An arm like this would be, you'd have to add clay as thick as the bones, let's say. So here's an outline. You'd have like a hand over here, let's say. You want to make sure that the thickness of this clay on the armature is one that is not too thick and not too thin. So arms, you really can't do a whole heck of a lot with, unless you're willing to sculpt the arms later during animation. So if you wanted to make like a muscular character with really bulky muscles, something like this, here's our hand. Very poor mouse drawn hand. But something like this would require a lot of resculpting during animation, because anytime you bend it, it's going to want to crack here and compress here. Right. So those are things to keep in mind before we design anything. All right, so how do I delete that? Eraser tool. Where's the eraser? Someplace here. Oh, that's why. It's over here. It's on the other screen. All right, so we can just... Oh, why isn't the eraser tool working here? What's going on with you, Mr. Eraser? Seems like I erased something there. Oh, because it's drawing lines, that's why. I think this way. Alright, so we'll just erase this arm here. Alright. So Ron says I should be getting a new Mac soon. I went to the Mac store the other day and looked at the new machines. No pixels. The resolution is so sharp you can't see any dots. Oh yeah, but those screens are expensive, aren't they? Last I checked, man, those things were very, very expensive for a really good monitor. Let's see. So is there a reason you like Macs over over a PC? Windows 10 is kind of intrusive, they say, with privacy and stuff. All right, so let me see now. Let's get some ideas for character designs. All right. Be #1 place for ideas. Google image search. So if you search for anything on Google, there are these words up here. It says all images, apps, news, videos, more, and search tools. So let's search for something kind of fun. Let's just say gargoyle. There are gargoyles. Not really sure I want to sculpt a gargoyle or make one, because I think that the color scheme is really bland and boring. It's just kind of gray and drab. Not sure I like that. Let's go with let's see what Chubby Monster brings up. Hopefully nothing racy comes up here. You never know with Google. Chubby monsters. Here's a funny one. That's crazy. Kind of weird. Now, of course, I'm not doing this for the purposes of copying somebody's work. I've kind of got an idea already in my mind as to what I'm looking for, and a lot of times with Google, this kind of helps to look around and see what others have created, and borrow different ideas, put them together, shift them around, think about what you like most as in terms of shapes and forms, and think about, of course, how things will look animated. If you're going to animate something, and you also, before you design a character, you kind of want to know what the story is about as well. Like, does this character jump? Does it run? Does it fly? These are things that you'll have to build into your puppet as well. But let's go with something really simple. Let's try to go with something simple this time. And since this is our first design, maybe we can use some simple shapes as well. So I'm kind of thinking something like this, like with 3 eyeballs would be kind of fun. Something a little bit crazy. Something that defies logic a little bit. So Beard is saying Windows 10 is intrusive by default, but there are guides on turning off all that stuff, since it's those send MS info to make your experience better type things. Yeah, Yeah, I've already gone through Windows 10 and changed all the settings on mine based on a video on privacy and whatnot. Yeah, they try to record what you do, sort of like Google, you know, what they're doing for ads, and that's not so nice. Alright, so let's go with some general shapes here. What color should we make our monster? We can go with green, we can go with beige, we can go with orange or yellow or green, turquoise. So of course, depends on what colors you have at your house, what you might own, or if you have the ability to make new colors, you can. Mixing clay is a really tricky thing because if you don't have certain colors, you can't make them, make new colors from, for example, white and black. You can't make like a blue color, so you gotta kind of think it through as well. Yeah, I've got a Mac for Dragon Frame, but that's the only reason I have a Mac. My PC is my main computer that I use all the time. So I think this is probably, this is a good color, I think. Let's see here. Maybe a little bit darker than that. So if we're gonna make a monster, a chubby monster, let's see here. Let's see, what kind of brush should I use? Now, it's been a while since I used this brush. So let me see, what is this? Should probably make that larger. Stabilizer. So off on the side, I'm just we've got all these tool options for our brushes, and so I'm going to, let's see, can I scale it up? Ooh, nope, don't do that. Yeah, it's the wrong thing. That's definitely not right. So, yep. Beard is saying, I imagine that's something that every big software company does now. That's in the whole data collecting and selling business. Yeah. It's a major problem. Privacy is somewhat non-existent on the internet anymore. Oh. There we go. So I'm just gonna, because I can't draw very well, I'm gonna just block in some funky shape here for our chubby monster. The reason I'm gonna go with chubby is I think maybe this character should be permanently sitting down. I don't think I'm gonna have him walking around or anything like that. And I want him to just be kind of a fun character, not much to him. This might be like the body shape. And then it's kind of working in silhouettes here. I can make it sort of like a, oops. Let's make this a bit bigger first. This will be the body, I think. And then some sort of eyeballs on the top. Let's go with 3 eyeballs. And then maybe some legs off to the side. And the legs can be pretty chubby, I think, because he's not going to walk on them. Maybe he's sitting like a frog or something like that. And then he's got some feet that'll be off here. Some sort of toes, some big toes. Another leg. So if we can kind of work out all of these issues with my computer here pretty soon, once I get that cable in the mail and work out some sort of table for the office that I can work on with the camera set up, then maybe we could do this more often. This would be kind of fun. It'll give me a reason to sculpt, you know, clay puppets, and you guys can learn as I go along. So here's our sort of frog-like character shape design. And for the arms, I think we'll have like a little shoulder area around this height. And here. And the arms will have to be, like I say, we'll want the arms to be thin, but not super thin, and not too fat as well. So I'm thinking along this amount of thickness. Somewhere around like that. And then the hands would be on the end of the wrist, of course. And the question is how big to make the hands. That's not really sure. But I'm thinking something like this would be a good palm size, maybe. And by the way, I could probably should have put this in. There's a certain mode you can use where when you draw something, you can have it symmetrical. So you draw on one side and it works the same on both sides. Like, you know, draw here and it shows up there. But of course, I thought of that now. So I'll get some fingers here. Maybe like a thumb. And I think 4 fingers would work. So here's our sort of silhouette for our character. Layer, new paint layer. Alright. So now I can make another layer here. And I can sketch, I can do whatever I need to do. And then I can delete it if I have to. So let's delete that. Actually, I can just go Control Z. So we can kind of get some details in here. So Ron says, in all the years on Mac, I only had one hacking problem because of a game website where somebody nailed me and hacked into my Gmail account, and I needed to create a new one. Now, did they actually hack into it, Ron, or did you fall for some trick where you put your password into like a spoof website or something? That's pretty popular of a trick. Ooh, what color is that? Let's see here. Let's make this bigger too. 40, 30. Alright. Let's get some eyeballs on them. Kind of thinking it would be kind of fun to give him some hair or something too, or some kind of like weird spikes here or something. Let's see. Let's go here. And this might be some bizarre character in the end, but work. 2 pixels is way too small for that. Yeah, this is where the Wacom tablet would have been very nice if it wanted to work, but it doesn't want to work for me right now. I'm thinking like some sort of weird, crazy hair would be cool for this character, so. So I'm going to have to think about how I would actually make this if I'm doing it in clay. And we can do that pretty easily by giving it just a lot of volume and just sculpting the hair in later on. So this would be essentially one shape. Now keep in mind, if you're going to animate something like this, the more stuff you add, the more you got to think about when you sort of get into animating. Oh man, I should have made that as a new layer. Let's erase all this. Not really sure I like the look of that, so I'm just going to go through here and I'm going to have to think twice about that if I want to do that or not. Let's see. So I think maybe some sort of yellowish, yellowy kind of irises. Alright, so how do I move this down? Let's go like this. Alright. Yellow irises and now if you guys want to know what good colors to choose for your characters, there's different ways to go about that. There's monochromatic, which is essentially you're creating something with, let's see if this will work. Like the gargoyles that we looked at before were monochromatic, so just gray, like shades of black and white. And why is this not? Let's go with red. Ugh. He's there. I muted my microphone so you guys wouldn't get blasted. So there's like monochromatic, and then there's colors that are complementary. So for the irises here, I'm pretty much just going to go with... I don't understand why this is not coming out as red, which I've chosen. Some kind of strange thing that I'm missing here. What is it that I'm missing? I think I had the wrong brush selected. Alright, let's go with the paintbrush. Yes, okay, there we go. Wrong brush, Mark. I was using a blend brush, I guess. But these are complementary colors, so you have a color wheel, which this is not really a good representation, but if you have blue here and you go straight across to the other side of this color circle, I guess you want to call it, the opposite of blue is yellow. So these two colors will essentially complement each other. So, you know, we're using like a turquoise here for the body. So if I go straight across, you can see that there's like this yellow to orangey red color, which, you know, depends on which color you've chosen. So I'm gonna go with somewhere in the middle, which is gonna be, you know, maybe orangey red, and use that as part of the iris here in the outline. And this is something that I'll paint on the eyeball when I get to it. See if I can, there we go. I'll have this little sort of circle around the iris to make it pop out a little bit. And that's something I can show you guys when I get to that stage of actually making the puppet. And we'll go with, we can go with a small pupil or a large one. Thinking something like this, probably pretty good. Something like this. Now our pupil could even be a different color if we wanted it to. So you guys are getting into some pretty heavy discussions. Looks like Nick is saying that the color doesn't change when you see it from a different angle. Get into trouble misjudging brightness and shooting with the PC and cheaper monitor. Yep, the better the monitor, the better you're going to, the better you can see details and whatnot as well. And yeah, I think I'm not really sure like what Leica uses for monitors, you know, what big studios use, but they're pretty good, I would imagine. And especially for a director of photography, the director of photography pretty much uses those monitors to hone in their lighting and their camera and everything. So it has to be a good monitor for that. I don't really know if that's like a standard thing that they use, like a, you know, maybe a ViewSonic or Asus or one of those, you know, those retinal displays from Apple, or you know, is it an LED or is it a plasma? All right, so this is my sort of very very simple character design here. So this is more like a frog character, like a mutated frog of some kind. So maybe I should bring up some pictures of frogs. I don't know if I should use plural or singular there, but let's see what we have here. So we got like a blue frog with some strange speckles. And we've got different eyeballs here. It looks like a photoshopped frog, kind of with an eyeball on top, like the one I've created. Now, I don't want to make the eyeballs realistic. I want them to be just really simple for our character. So I'm gonna keep them round. You can see here, oddly enough, what we were talking about in terms of colors. You can see we've got turquoise, and then we've got this sort of yellowish green color, which is really pretty. So you can see we're sort of in this area and this area. So they're pretty complementary colors. So more on the yellow side of things and the blue. So definitely something we could think about doing. Let's see here. And Janet says, I have a Dell laptop and have more light color. And monitors can be adjusted, and there's also there are ways to calibrate your monitor. Certain software, Photoshop has a way of calibrating your monitor to make sure that the colors that you are going to print will match what you see on screen. And I know my computer is set up for that, but I'm not really worried about it. It's just part of Photoshop. Now this guy here has about the funkiest face for a frog. He looks really kind of stupid, I have to say. This guy here looks kind of snarky, kind of mischievous, or maybe condescending might be the word. I should probably bring this up here so I can see what you guys can see. Let's see here. So we had this sort of different expressions we could give our frog character, our mutant frog. And this guy here, I don't know, something about this guy just makes me laugh. Yeah, so yep, I think it's the eyeballs, because we got eyeballs going off in two directions. I think that makes him look kind of goofy. And so that might be something we could do as well. And the mouth is just kind of a really dopey looking mouth too. So let's see what we can do here. Alright, so let's add another layer. I'm going to add a layer on the side. So in Krita, what I'm doing here is I'm pulling this down here and creating a new paint layer right here. And what will happen is you'll see there's another row called layer 4. So we got layer 1, 2, 3, and 4. Layer 2 is where I've created the body. Layer 3 is the eyeballs. And for this, I'm gonna maybe sketch in a mouth or something, kind of a dopey looking mouth. But I wonder if I should put like a human mouth on there, which would be really strange because it looks like a frog, but it would have a human mouth. I'll have to think about this for a minute. Let me go to Google Images and let's just see what we've got here. Let's go with crazy person. Yeah, crazy person. Huh. What would be a cool mouth to put on there? Huh. So many crazy expressions here. It's got some crazy teeth. Something about not having a lot of teeth is kind of funny in a way. Makes the person definitely pop out a little bit more, gives them more character. So we could think about that. Yeah, this is kind of funny. Okay. So, what do you guys think about that as about the weirdest expression ever? Now, if I was going to be animating this, of course, I wouldn't just go with one expression. I might consider making replacement faces for this, but we're just going to sculpt it and go and animate things the hard way potentially in the future, which is to say that we might take the clay and re-sculpt it for every frame. That is the hard way to do it, but it's something that was done for many years at Wolverton Productions, so it's not something that's impossible. It just takes a little bit more time and patience. So I'm going to put this over here. It's kind of hard to do this with two monitors like this. So what sort of nose should I give him? Maybe a, I'll give him a frog nose. Let's see. Here's my new layer. What color? Let's go with a darker color, perhaps. All right. Alright, so we'll give him just about the weirdest looking lips here. That's not very nice. Should probably put some teeth in there first. So let's go with some slightly yellowish teeth. Where should I put them? Maybe somewhere in this area. So let's go with a couple of big teeth here. Or, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. Let's make the back part of the mouth here first. Something like this, and then reduce the size to that. Yellowish teeth. So Janet is asking, how do you buy Photoshop in the cloud? And I imagine you can just Google that. It's probably adobe.com something like /Photoshop or something like that. Okay, so here's our strange looking teeth. I'm gonna back to this and all right. And yeah, what does it cost now for Photoshop in the cloud? Is it like $30 or something a month, or thereabouts, I guess? All right, so here's my sad attempt at trying to get a strange expression on him. Got some lips and teeth. And I think what I should probably do now is make some highlights on his face just to kind of figure out where the shapes are on him a bit. Let's see, where does that color look like? Okay. It's going to be kind of light shaped. Should I give him some cheekbones perhaps? I think this here kind of lends itself to having like a nose up here. I think we should add a nose up there. So what shape nose should I give him? Let's add another layer. $120 a year. Wow. It's not really that much when you think about it. It's pretty good. Huh. There we go. I think a nose like that's kind of funny. Something like this. Oops. Control Z. Normal, where is it? Color, dodge, or burn? Man. Burn. Nope. Darken. This might work. Alright. I think some shadows under the eyeballs. Alright. So now we got a strange face, and I think here we should definitely add some like cheekbones of some sort. Huh, that's not good. Give him some cheekbones. There we go. Then I'm gonna make this big. And what layer is this? This is the mouth. Now, if I had my Wacom tablet, I would not be highlighting things like this, but we're just kind of making it more apparent where the forms are. It's going to have some muscular anatomy going on here. Not a lot, but something akin to this, and not really sure the transition of the neck to the body might be more. Let's see here. It's gonna have to have some form here for sure. Something like this. And I think this here, like this. Now for the toes, I can make his feet more human. I think that would be kind of cool to have human-shaped toes on there. So we can give him some toenails. And so what color should I use? Maybe again we'll go with the yellow tone. Something like, like this, perhaps? And let's see. Toenails. And then for the body, we might give him some speckles of some sort. Let's see if I have any sort of brushes that would look cool for that. Concept, Steve at 8. Ooh. Nope. Too much, too much. Oop. Just erased a toenail by accident there. Let's go back here and re-add that. Darn it. So, Natron, huh? Are you using that a lot, Ron? I haven't tried it yet. Seems like a cool program, but... have not tried it. So Keylight, is that, that's for compositing, obviously, but is it... how expensive is that? Is it really expensive? Alright, I'm just gonna use a regular old paintbrush. I don't really have a good brush for that, so I think we can give them some little, like... oops, let's make another layer there. Move that up, it's down, okay. Give them some warts, add a lighter color. And all this stuff now that I'm doing we'll have to replicate with clay. And we'll have to use white clay, we'll have to use blue clay. All kinds of colors. For his hands, you know, I'm not really sure. I think I'll just make regular old hands like I'm used to making with 4 fingers and not worry too much about these, but I think we could make the hands a little bit strange, like more alien-like if we give them some sort of like suction cups on the tip. So let's do that. Let's give them some suction cups. Because frogs have those little... or certain frogs have these little grippers, like tree frogs, and they're not like normal human fingers. So I think we can go with something like this. And just to sort of maybe accent these a little bit to give them form. Let's go with, just to make sure that I don't forget when I sculpt them that we're going to do this. So these will be like indented little fingertips. And I think it needs a belly button too. Definitely needs a belly button, so let's put one right there. Alright. We can give him like maybe some darker speckled legs, or, you know, give him some sort of a pattern later. I can either use that, do that as a texture, or with, you know, different colored clay. I think that looks pretty good for a character design that I've done in, let's see, an hour or so. So this is going to be a design. I think what we'll have to do next week is we'll have to figure out the armature, and we'll have to figure out the scale, and also some sort of a base to put them on. And I'll probably have to make the base and the armature beforehand, or maybe I can actually make the armature during the show, so you can see the process. But that's our design. So I guess next week what we'll do is, like I say, I'll try to set something up for the broadcast where I use my DSLR camera, and that should hopefully work and allow us to broadcast where you can watch me working. And yeah, so I don't know if you guys enjoyed tonight's show or not, but I tried my best, and I do appreciate you guys coming by. If you have any questions about anything, you can always write to me. Let me bring this up on screen so you guys can, let's see here. So mark@animateclay.com is my email address. So if you have any questions or comments, you'd like to tell me something, you can find me there. And let's see, and also visit animateclay.com. Oh, where are we? What am I doing here? There we go. That's our main website, is animateclay.com. And if you like our video, of course, subscribe, and find us on Twitter @AnimateClay, and Facebook is @AnimateClayFan. That's how you can find us. And our intro music was by Monstercat. All right, so thanks again, everybody. I'll see you all next week.